Hey, what's up guys, it's Unleashed here today, and we are back with another video on Sonic Frontiers. And in today's video, we have something very interesting to look at regarding Sonic Frontiers. So as we all know, games in general always have some things change during development, whether it be big or small. And with that comes beta and alpha versions of games. And this has happened with Sonic games too, such as Sonic 06 and obviously Sonic Unleashed, where we had beta and alpha versions of the games which look very different to the final product. And obviously from those beta versions, we can see that obviously the final game could look a lot better than the beta versions, obviously being Sonic Unleashed, or in the other case of it being worse with Sonic 06 on its alpha versions. And in today's video, we have some beta footage of Sonic Frontiers that was leaked from some unknown source. And while it's not much, it is still very interesting, and yeah, we're just gonna look at it in today's video and just analyze it. So yeah, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's take a look at the beta footage at hand. Onto Twitter. We Sonic Rush. So I think this happened like 1 or 2 weeks ago now, but some random person on Twitter found some footage from, I think, some Sega. I don't quite know where it was from or what it was for, but basically it was a video that Sega had in their office or whatever back in 2021. And in that little clip we got what looks to be a Persona 3 remake and Jet Set Radio 3. Okay, that is very interesting because, yeah, Jet Set Radio has been dead for quite a long time now. But the third thing that we saw in that little clip was this. That's right, your eyes are not deceiving you. That was indeed some beta footage of Sonic Frontiers from back in 2021. And I think it's safe to say that, yeah, things definitely changed between that and the final game, alright? You can safely say that. So right here we have a thread from Sonic Frontiers Facts Plus. Sonic Frontiers leaked early footage, a breakdown, and you can see that the account actually posted the footage. Yeah, it no longer exists, so Sega sent the ninjas out and took that person down, so rest in peace, I guess. But yeah, we have a breakdown right here, so yeah, let's just take a look right now. The footage is playing a unique music track. It doesn't appear to be anything heard in the final game, but it resembles Break Through It All. The audio is also slightly desynced from the footage itself, lagging behind a second or two. So yeah, in the little clip of the Frontiers beta, there's some hard rock playing. It sounds very similar to the Titan themes in the game already, but there's no vocals and it's kinda hard to pinpoint which song it actually is, if it even is a song in the game already. Now like it's been said right here, it kind of resembles Break Through It All, but also Undefeatable because of the way guitars is played there. But if you ask me, I think it just kinda sounds like an unfinished Titan theme, to be honest with you. Not like a new or anything like that, but definitely unfinished because, I don't know, the way the guitar sounds, I'll just play it again right now. It definitely sounds a bit unfinished right now because I think that we're going to need to put some more instruments or something there to layer it a lot better to make the vocals actually work a lot better too. But yeah, Sonic's jump ball is different. The final game virtually reuses the Force's jump ball, and yeah, first image there, that's from the beta version of Sonic Frontiers, and then on the right there, final game, and yeah, some small differences you can note here. So if I can see it correctly, do you know Sonic spikes like on the top and the bottom of the final version? They seem to be absent in the beta version, so it's essentially just like a ball, like a sphere or whatever, with no spikes coming off it, like in the Forces and the Frontiers version right here. So I guess it would be like Lost World, except it has some sort of lighting around it or something like that. That's pretty much what it looks like to me right now anyways. And then the beta version also doesn't seem to have any extra lighting added to it like in the Frontiers final version, so I guess it's also interesting. Now obviously because this tweet has the word Forces in it, the Sonic community obviously started a bit of a debate about it, looking at the views on this tweet. 412,000. Yeah, that's a lot. Now it's basically a debate as to whether the Frontiers beta version was better than the final version in terms of its jump ball, and yeah, there were a lot of people saying that the beta version looks a lot better than the final version, and in my opinion, I disagree. I mean, the beta version, it just looks unfinished to me. I mean, I don't know, man. The Frontiers final version looks more refined from the Forces one, and I actually really like the Forces one, so I kind of like the Frontiers final version a lot more. But I can't see where the people are saying that the beta version is better coming from. I mean, the colour of Sonic is more accurate to his actual model in the game, which makes a lot more sense. I kind of see where people are coming from there, but yeah, I still think that the final version is a lot better. Now the next tweet right here, there are two separate tiers of soldier here. This lines up with an early object layout for the tutorial, which features different tiers of soldier that could use a shield mixed with the lowest tier soldiers. See, obviously in Chronos, the soldiers were more black, and then in this right here, we've got a mix of both the red ones from Chaos Island and obviously the black ones from the original Chronos. And I guess this is because obviously, wait, I haven't even mentioned this yet, but in this beta footage right here, the islands are all combined now, like in the Game Awards trailer too. This is how Chronos Island was supposed to look, with all Uranos, Rhea, and Chronos all joined together into one massive island. That's I don't know how I mentioned that yet, but yeah, that's how this is supposed to be right now. And I guess because the island is so massive, they have more than one soldier enemy to keep it more varied, I suppose. I mean, I guess that makes sense. The giant growth in the forest appears to be a smoke plume. If you watch closely, you can see it rising and shifting around. This is like the fog playtesters were talking about. So in this screenshot right here, you can see the top right there, some sort of fog thing. It kind of looks like a rock, but no, that's actually fog. Like it's just been said here too, yeah, the playtesters back in the early Frontiers leaks, they mentioned some sort of fog that disappears where you go to fight a tree enemy, a Supersonic, most likely supposed to be Giganto that they're describing. And I think this area right here is where Supreme is fought, and obviously that was originally where Giganto was going to be fought in the full Chronos Island, so I guess when that fog disappears, Giganto appears there. Makes sense. Caterpillar looks more like his concept art, and uses completely different attacks not seen in the final game. The circular objects surrounding it also come from the concept art. It's worth noting that this footage does still have the broken caterpillar seen in the final game. So the caterpillar enemies in the beta version of Sonic Frontiers seem to be black, obviously like it's been said right here again, like in the concept art, but obviously in the final game they seem to be gold. Now it's hard to say whether this version of Caterpillar has the rail section from the final game, but not too sure, kind of impossible to tell, but yeah, it definitely has a lot more cool looking attacks, man. Like, it just shoots things everywhere, man. The supersonic transformation animation is the same, but there are significantly more particle effects. And yeah, this right here, this is probably one of the biggest downgrades from the beta to the final version of the game, because the final version of supersonic transformation was absolutely pathetic. Like, I'm sorry, I just have to say that once again. It was absolutely pathetic there, but right here in the beta version, when it still uses the stiff animation, the particle and the aura looks so much more like powerful, man. You actually feel the transformation now. Like, even though you still do turn supersonic in Final Frontiers, the transformation does not give you that effect at all. But this right here, that is Supersonic just transforming. That is what I want to see right now, man. But sadly, it's been stuck in the beta version, man. It's very sad. The camera angle for this finished QTE is also much different. And yeah, this is the one where if you fail the hand clapping QTE from Giganto, you get into Giganto's mouth, and yeah, you have to try push it open with the QTE. But the angle for this one in the beta looks so much more cinematic and just so much better, man. Like, I don't know why they changed it, man. Like, it is truly amazing just what a simple camera angle change can really do to us, like a boss fight or something, to make it just feel so much more epic and cinematic. Like, you really feel like you're inside Giganto's mouth. Wait, that just sounds all kind of weird. Hold on, let me just rephrase that. Like, you really just feel that you're between Giganto's jaws. Does that sound much better? I don't know, I'm just gonna go with it now, I can't be bothered. But yeah, either way, it looks a lot more cooler, man. A lot more cooler. Giganto jumps much higher in the air than in the final. In the final, he does a short hop to turn around. But here, he leaps from one side of the arena to the other. When he lands, he also creates more particle effects, including large rocks that fly everywhere. And yeah, you can see the screenshot right here, just how much smoke is actually produced from Giganto just falling to the ground. It kind of reminds me of the smoke that appears during Giganto's first encounter. You know when he stomps on the ground and all the rocks come flying up? There's kind of a little bit of smoke there. But with the time of day too, just feels so much more epic and just so much more cool and threatening. Like, just look at this, man. Giganto, that massive titan, in that plume of smoke right there. That just seems so, like, threatening, foreboding, whatever you want to call it. It just looks so much better, man, so much better. Then one other thing regarding Supersonic's aura in this game, Supersonic's boost aura is different. And yeah, you can see right here, when Supersonic boosts in the final game, he just has a bit of motion blur and that's really it. But in the beta version of Sonic Frontiers, there's a gold explosion when he boosts, and that is just so dope, man. Just once again, more effects of Supersonic has been wasted in the final version of the game. Speaking of the beta looking better though, is it just me, but does the beta colour for Supersonic look so much better than the final version? Like, it's more yellow in the final version, but it's more orangey goldy in the beta version. kind of like Sonic Adventure 1, and I think that looks so much better. Unless it's the lighting or something, I don't know, but my god, that looks so much better. And that's about it for that thread there about the differences between the beta and the final version of Sonic Frontiers. Now, the biggest debate that came from this beta version of Sonic Frontiers being released was the visuals. For some reason, the beta version seems to have better visuals than the actual final game. Obviously, some things are kind of unfinished, like the Grand Slam attack. There's no effects on that at all, so Sonic in a little ball, but that's it. But in terms of the overall graphics of the game, arguably the beta looks better than the final version. Now, the thing that got blamed by Sonic fans because of this was the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch, obviously one of the best-selling consoles of all time, but definitely not the most powerful at all. The Switch's hardware compared to modern day standards is quite outdated, which results in modern AAA titles having to actually downgrade their games to actually run on the Switch, for example, Sonic Frontiers. Obviously nowadays we have things like the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, even PCs too, and then comparing those to the Switch, yeah, they can do so much more than the Switch can. And obviously, Sega want to actually put the Sonic games onto Switch because obviously, Sonic, as it stands right now, sells best on the Nintendo Switch. So it's obvious that Sega is not going to want to abandon the Nintendo Switch at all. Losing the Switch means losing a lot of money, and Sega doesn't want to do that, obviously. And because of all that, the beta does look a bit better than the final version of the game, and people believe this because Sega and Sonic team need to downgrade the game to actually run on the Switch because, yeah, Frontiers is a pretty nice looking game overall, but the Nintendo Switch is the Nintendo Switch. But this isn't entirely the Switch's fault because if the Nintendo Switch can't run the game, then why not just downscale the Switch version alone and not the other version? Like, that would make a lot more sense, but for some reason, Sega decided to downgrade all versions of the game just to make them all kind of look the same and make Switch owners feel like they actually have the same kind of looking game as the other versions, when in reality it still doesn't look like that, but yeah. I don't think the Switch is entirely to blame here. Obviously it's going to cause some issues for Sonic Team and Sega in terms of playing their newer games to the Switch, obviously, but I don't think it's the Switch's fault. It's more so on Sega and Sonic Team, I would say. Maybe not so much Sonic Team, but yeah, definitely Sega. Why I think this happen going forward is that Sega needs to organize some sort of team, like a part of Sonic Team or something, that downgrades their Sonic games specifically for the Switch, meaning that the version of the game that isn't the Switch can look as best as they possibly can. Either that or they get someone like Dimps again to do a different version of the game. Like, I know people think that's kind of outdated now, but in my opinion, I still think that's something cool to have because sometimes people prefer different versions of the game to others, and yeah, if people get a better game that they would have hoped for, then sure, that sounds good to me. But yeah, while the Switch itself isn't that powerful, I don't think it's the Switch's fault because, let's be honest here, since the GameCube, Nintendo have never really been on top of hardware in terms of the consoles, but it's been working fine for Sonic back then, so why is it a problem now? That's all I'm gonna say. If they can downgrade the PS2 version of Sonic Unleashed to make it run on the Wii, then they can do the same thing for Sonic Frontiers. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, that's just facts. Like, come on. Sega, fix up with this, please. Anyways, that about does it for today's video. So yeah, beta Frontiers footage got leaked somehow, but yeah, a lot of interesting things in it, man. This really just tells about the development of the game, and hopefully Sega can take some notes and actually learn from this entire thing. But who knows, maybe by the time Frontiers 2 or something comes out, Nintendo will have the Switch 2 or Switch Pro, whatever, maybe. I don't know, but it is Nintendo, and the Switch is still doing big numbers, so I don't see that stopping anytime soon. But let me know what you guys think about the beta version of Frontiers. Do you think it looks better than the final version in some areas, or not? Let me know down below. I'd love to see what you guys have to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, especially that last one, to eventually become unleashed. Pressing that join button down below. And remember, it's not necessary. And I'll see you all next time. Peace!